I'll open it out, so we'd like to hear from members in terms of their experiences and what they feel. So I'll start off. My name is Jane Heath. I'm Branch Secretary, Staffordshire Branch of UNISON. I'm not known for my IT skills, so for me to be able to balance the microphone and read what I'm going to say without my glasses is going to be a challenge, so please bear with me. We're frequently reminded how we are all in this together. Words provided to reassure us that despite the steep increases we have seen in the goods that we buy and the services we receive, it is something we should all be prepared to share. This should be juggled on top of a 3-year pay freeze. Well, at least we have the comfort of knowing that not only are we in it together, we are helping the country as well. And so what if we can't afford to pay more into our pension on top of everything else? We can have thrown back in our faces how they are gold-plated pensions and how unfair it is compared to others. And every time public sector workers' pensions are mentioned, we know those magic words, gold-plated, will be used. Mention it enough times, you can reinforce it, and it becomes just part of the pension spin. With enough luck, no one will even ask whether it's true or not. But I'm here today to talk about my experience as a local government worker of 30 years, paying into the local government pension scheme for 30 years. Back then, when I started working in local government, you automatically paid into the scheme. There was no opting out then. At that time, we were also in a recession with high unemployment, particularly the younger people just starting out. I'll get to that. There were numerous youth opportunity schemes. Little pay, no job at the end, but you got the experience. Oh, and it was a Conservative government in power. I obtained and worked in temporary posts. They were quite plentiful too. No security, but you got the experience. Getting a permanent job, I thought I'd hit the jackpot. So imagine my shock to be told that pension contributions start at 18. As I was in temporary posts at the time, I hadn't paid into the scheme. So they would be taking the extra contributions out of my salary for 12 months, in addition to my ongoing pension deductions. And financially, that was hard. So the extra contributions many of us are expected to make will be equally hard. We should have written this on a small piece of paper. Over the years, I saw and experienced many things. How much pensions were viewed as part of terms and conditions. How else can you account for the lower pay awards or even over the decades in the public sector? I remember the Chancellor of the Exchequer, Conservative government, saying that pension funds only had to be funded to 75%. Any surplus could be used to freeze council tax, and it was used. I remember employers taking pension holidays when investments were good, but the staff still had to contribute their share. Working in local government also meant poorer pay than in the private sector, but this was compensated through having a pension and an element of security. And having looked at my experiences over the years, I compare it to what we're facing now. Unemployment running at the highest it's been for 17 years. The number of young people unemployed now being over 1 million. The promise of the creation of jobs, the increase towards part-time jobs and temporary positions. We have apprenticeships to provide that much needed work experience, but it doesn't turn into a permanent job at the end. But again, you have the experience. And the pension schemes, well, what the changes appear to be about is supporting various efficiency savings, £500 million worth in fact. Oh, and the government is proposing to freeze council tax, which will require a supplement. And who is the government again? I said I wasn't very good at this, didn't I? Well, the names might change, but the rest, well, we've seen it all before. Paying more to fund what is nothing more than a tax on my pension isn't my idea of we're all in it together. A tax is a tax regardless of how you package it. I say let those individuals and companies who owe so much tax be the first to offer their contributions.
Here.
And that gold-plated pension, what is gold plate? A shiny, rich exterior appearing to be something it isn't. Deceiving to the eye, but when you scratch below the surface, base metal and of little substance. Now that description sums up the so-called punch and offer very well. Don't be deceived by that shiny, rich exterior. See it for what it actually is. I do. Thank you.
Are you up for this?
Not on.
I'll turn it on first. No. Can you hear me now?
Hey!
Neil Salter, Unite. Are you up for this? Are we fighting back?
Yay!
Now is the winter of our discontent.